that so far they have maintained a certain consistency in this particular story?
Well, I think the first thing is to recognize that the media's ability to maintain the story on NYS has really been contingent on its attraction, if you will, to the politics of the scandal, of the NYS scandal. They've really been covering what Raila has been saying, you know. And this, I think, for many guys will vindicate some of the accusations he's been saying. He's been rubbished a lot. For sort of, what do they say, like his sour grapes and stuff, but actually it's showing the Eurobond. He pointed out issues, they turned out to be issues. In NYS, he made noise, it turns out to be this substance behind it. So I think that's one thing, that the media shouldn't really be taking credit for a story that he was pushing. But that said, it's good that they covered it. You know, I would really hope that with all the personalities that are being brought in now, that this doesn't become or degenerate into simply another political fight, that we actually keep track of what the facts are and what what the real story is, which is the stealing of public money. You know, there is a real danger, and we have seen this in previous scandals, where it's reduced to a political football, you know, where people are cleared, quote unquote, by parliament, you know, etc. These are the things we need to be aware of, and we need to guard against. I think for us right now, I mean, one of the failings, and I think it continues till today, of the press is taking a lot of what's being told at face value. You know, the affidavits that are being presented are quoting particular facts, you know, etc. The media can verify these facts. When Waiguru says, I moved out of this house on this time, these are verifiable things.
Yeah, by probably speaking to the neighbors or stuff like that. Yeah.
You know, yeah, you could. Actually, this is what the media does. It goes around, it speaks to people, it finds out.
Probably,
you know, and this is my problem. Is a lot of it is simply allowed to be batted about. You know, he claimed this other one has claimed that. But nobody actually starts up and says, okay, let us look at it and say, what is actually true? Last week I gave the examples of the claims that Waiguru had been saying that were actually not true. You know, etc. They are still being repeated. So it's important that we look at, even in her affidavit, you know, and also in Josephine's affidavit, which also has quite a lot of inconsistencies, that we actually lay them out and we say, this is believable, this is not. This is credible, this is not. You know, and where we can verify facts, we ensure they are verified. The other thing is, I don't know if it was here last week that somebody mentioned that there are bits of evidence that are being mentioned. So, for example, there are texts that Waiguru speaks about between Harake and Duale. You know, this Safaricom has these records, etc. You know,
the records are there.
So what's happening in terms of securing?
What they have is metadata, not
yeah, precisely. I mean, it's metadata will tell you that there was a text from this phone.
But you see, the law actually, I cannot just walk to Safaricom.
No, I'm not saying you would, but I'm saying we should be asking, because for me, I think as an investigative agency...
Let's not say Safaricom, because probably they use other networks
or whatever. But as an investigative agency, they should be moving to make sure that these records are there, they're held. It's one of the ways we were able to have the affidavit against Onui get some credibility is the fact that NIS confirmed that there was communication between him and this guy.
All right, Crispus, in terms of now verifying those facts, with this case, we have now two affidavits that we have. We have the Kafura's affidavit, and now we have Waiguru's. And with Kafura's, have we even gone to the extent of verifying some of the things she says? Like Gadara says, some of them are verifiable. There are things that she said this, we have it on record, we have the affidavit, but have we gone far enough to check that this is actually true or not true and discount it or qualify it?
I think, Michael, what we need actually to agree is that the media has done very well on this matter, given the coverage that we've seen ever since the affidavit was sworn by Kafura. Then the other affidavit that came yesterday from Anne Waiguru. But I think, like you said, there are certain things that we must now start putting in mind. But I would disagree, because, you know, this is a matter that is already in court. A lot of those things are actually going to come up from the court.
So do we have to wait for them to come up in court? Yet we have the document and we have the facts. You know, just to use a simple example, if CS Anne Waiguru says or refutes the fact that she was not living in, I think it was Kitisuru at some point, based on what...
we can do that.
That can be done. We don't need to wait for the court.
That can be done. I totally agree with you. But remember, I've said this is a litigious matter. So even as we do that, we must be very careful. The other thing that we can do on this matter is the fact that when Anne Waiguru first was mentioned in this saga, you know, the claims were, I'm a whistleblower, State House defended, government, the dwellers defended, Murkomen. Now they are being implicated. Can we now start bringing out those issues, going back to the clips where they were defending Anne Waiguru, and today Anne Waiguru is mentioning something different. So is it possible that she was actually a whistleblower in this matter? I would like to see the reactions today, because
how can we follow that trail, given that we have substance in terms of how this story has unfolded? And the good thing is that it's not like you know, one of those old stories where we are struggling to think of the details.
It's live.
It's live. It's happening. It goes along. How can we follow that?
Question the processes. Like you say, the vetting. Is Parliament the only institution that is supposed to have the final word?
Okay, the vetting, there was this thing that about public vetting, or vetting. You know, we tend to confuse vetting in public and public vetting. Just because these guys are vetted and in public and the TV cameras and there and all that, that actually is never public vetting, because we tend to have this thing like, okay, fine, we are going to do this tomorrow. If you have any views, come. There could be somebody in Turkana, who actually has an issue about probably a new CS or a new PS who has been a principal secretary, and you're giving this person 24 hours to come to County Hall and complain. So you see, I think also, yes, it is the systems that we need to look at, because when it comes to the electorate, I'm sorry, ironically, Kenya has very good brains, but at the same time, you're dealing with a very ignorant electorate. Ignorant voters, in as much as I can actually come and present to you people like, okay, fine, I have caught so-and-so with the fingers in the tail, and here they're still dripping. But, oh, it will turn out like, okay, fine, that is our person, you know? So you cannot, no matter how much you tell the people about how, let's say, how big a thief this particular leader
is it ignorance or is it about the culture?
But just a minute. So actually, so sometimes it is very difficult. I mean, if the systems, just a minute, if the system's in place, then these things can work. I'll just give you I was talking to my brother last night. I was telling him, like, can you look at how UEFA Champions League is going on smoothly? And right now, the president of UEFA actually has been banned for 8 years. You know, he is not involved at all. And things are still going on because
so it's an issue of having systems working.
The thing is in place, you know. There is nobody, you don't hear the French coming to complain like, oh, you know, our teams will not participate in this because you guys kicked out our man, you know.
I'll cut you short, and this is because I'm looking at time and we still have not even looked at the Tunoi saga, which of course also has another twisted turn. Yesterday it was different from today in that the president now has appointed a tribunal, and of course there was a constitutional question there. Crispus, your thinking on how things have gone so far, barely 24 hours before the deadline.
I'll actually say that the plot is now thicker, which is very unfortunate, because last week, not even last week, I think on Monday, it was very clear that the president wasn't going to appoint the tribunal. And we know the statement that had come from State House and the contents of that statement. But I think we must start asking ourselves questions. What really does the head of state know about this matter? What were the implications of appointing that tribunal? Because, I mean, it is very clear the head of state can have his way. There isn't anything that the head of state cannot get in this country. What is it that actually triggered that about turn? Because in other countries, appointing a tribunal is a very, very serious matter. It is not a matter that is just left to one individual, and for that matter, the head of state. This is where I question the spirit and the letter of the Constitution, because there are certain things that were never anticipated. If I were President Uhuru, I would have fired my advisors a long time ago, because the kind of advice they are giving him is juvenile. It is actually shaming him. Is it possible that Judge, not Judge, CJ Mutunga had threatened to resign?
I don't know whether he threatened or not, but I really have to say some of the things that you've just said. I find them quite shocking, to be honest. I don't know why you're questioning the spirit of the Constitution. The spirit and letter of the Constitution. The Constitution is clear. There was no constitutional crisis. There was never going to be a constitutional crisis. I'm not talking about
the constitutional crisis. Let me finish. No, I think
you want to question the Constitution.
No, I'm not questioning. Even the AG himself has alluded to the fact that there are a lot of inconsistencies about this constitution. And I think the church was right, because we were told that we need...
Oh, come on.
No, the church. Please.
No. That is not the route I'm taking.
No, really, we've got to be serious. If we're talking about this issue of Tunoi, then let's not start saying that there is a problem with devolution, so therefore it affects this one. No, let's be clear. The president postulated in his letter, or the letter that was written on his behalf, I would assume by Kenya, that there was going to be a crisis, a constitutional crisis, if he appointed the tribunal, which, pardon my French, is bollocks. You know, it was never going to be there, but the media reported it as if it was real.
No,
you know, they actually report that he has declined to form a commission, as if he's got the power to do so. He doesn't. The Constitution is clear. He has got to do this. What he was doing was what the media wouldn't call it, is he was subverting the Constitution. He was breaking his oath. You know, so and nobody wanted to be clear. Let me finish.
We're out of time. But how is he subverting the Constitution, yet the deadline had not reached?
Actually, no. He had said he wouldn't. That is the subversion. He had said, he postulated that he's got the power to decline, which is the subversion, which you guys carry along as if it is true.
Okay. Final comments today. Time is up.
One quick thing that we need to be aware of. The JSC that recommended the tribunal, the Attorney General sits in it. So do we have a situation where Attorney General recommended a tribunal when he was at the JSC and then dashed across to State House and told the president, actually no.
No. Actually, the AG said that he was not involved in the whatever came from State House. That was not his beat. Yeah, he said that was not his beat.
I haven't seen that.
But actually, going forward, the Tunoi
we need to wind up.
Yeah, the Tunoi saga is quite deep. You know, all these shenanigans that you've been seeing around, it comes down to what I call the men's club. It comes down to Tunoi, it comes down to Waiguru, it comes down to Kidero, because all these people, there's so many people, there's so many players in the whole thing. Because here is Waiguru comes, she wants to be the Nairobi governor, which actually she should forget, talking as a political analyst.
Okay,
like a men's club.
Sorry. We have to wind it up right there.
No, I said talking as a political analyst.
We have to wind it up right there, and hopefully we'll pick it up from there, depending on how the news is going to roll out. But definitely a lot of work that needs to be done. But just to read some of the comments that are coming through, and Catherine Amai says that Newsroom, excellent discussion on the media. Thank you very much for that. We have Gitonga Wagatweri who says it can only, I guess he's talking about the media, it can only educate Kitendawili supporters who always want crybaby declared winner after losing. Wow, okay. That's his opinion and he's entitled to it. We have David Doe who says, why are some in court and others? What is the criteria that is being used? David Ohito who says, or rather he has retweeted and says that, or rather, okay, he was just participating in the conversation. And David Ohito, please come back. We need you here in the newsroom. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll have to wind it up right there because of time. And for you at home, thank you so much. And for you, wherever you're watching from, for staying with us. Do stay with us right here on KTN News. We've got News Hour coming up next.